And welcome to the Aaron Katsman Show. I'm your host, Aaron Katsman. We speak about your life, your money, and your investments. And as always, we're coming to you from the spiritual and soon-to-be financial capital of the world, Jerusalem, Israel. If you like this content, please hit the like button below. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the podcast and to our YouTube channel. So I'd like to speak about leaving a legacy. It's something that unfortunately is because of the situation here in Israel. I know it sort of sounds sort of sick, but people are taking very, very seriously. But it's something that also I've come across over the last 6 or 7 months. I've spoken about this before, how there's been like an onslaught of clients speaking to me about how they should set up their future, how they should set up their legacy. Should they just leave all the money to their kids posthumously, right? Put it in the will, and when they live out their lives, and then once they pass, the kids get everything? Or should they be giving money, assuming they have it, along the way to help out their kids who are, when younger, could probably use the money a little more than when they, are in the 60s and 70s. It's not so simple here in Israel to make ends meet, or anywhere else in the world. And maybe that gift, or maybe the small gifts when they're 40 or 50 or 30, 40 or 50, might be more useful actually than when they get a larger amount of money when they're 60 or 70. This is something that I've spoken about, I've written about, in my book. I sort of spoke about the different approaches people have to legacy. There are those who believe they should just race your money to the grave, meaning like, I took care of my kids and now it's my turn, right? And I'm just going to spend, I'm going to live it up. If there's anything left at the end, well, then my kids can have it. But they're the farthest thing from my mind, right? I took care of them. Now it's about me. That tends to be an approach that I don't find so much, especially being here in Israel. It's much more about helping out your children and when to do it. Okay, so let's take that one off the table, because like I said, I don't see that at all. And I've been in this business, I'm into my third decade. I know I don't look that old, but I'm well into my third decade, and I've yet to meet the person really who that's their overall overriding philosophy. It generally comes down to two different types of people that I meet. One, someone who says, like I said at the beginning, right? I need to take care of myself, and whatever I have, I'm gonna make sure that I have what I have, and then after I pass on, my children get everything. That's one approach. I would say the more common approach is that, yeah, obviously I've got to take care of myself first, right? That goes without saying. I'm not going to frivolously spend money and buy apartments and buy cars for my children when I can't, make ends meet for myself, and I'm going to be short in retirement. But first, obviously, do the analysis that you need to see how much money you really need in retirement, and then start giving when you're younger, and your children, whoever you're giving to, could really use it, will be meaningful in their life. That tends to be, at least in my clientele here in Israel, by far and away the most popular approach. I was reading a really interesting article on Morningstar by Christine Benz, and she says, it's called "We Need to Talk About Your Retirement Spending." She tells the story back, when she had first got married, and she was looking to buy a home, and interest rates soared to, like, mortgage rates, I think, were 8.75%, and they were priced out of the home market. And they went to visit her parents, and her parents said, well, we understand that you're having a little bit of trouble. Could we give you a gift and put you sort of over the top so you could buy the house of your dreams? And, make a long story short, obviously they accepted the gift, and they lived happily. She's lived happily ever after. I don't know, but she was able to buy the place, and as they're earning, their actual, earnings increased, they were able to pay off the mortgage. They moved, they bought something else. Now, I want to read what she says. She says, the point of this long and personal story isn't what a good daughter I was, or what good parents I had, though I was and they were. It's that the portfolio withdrawal that my parents made in 1994 to enlarge our down payment counted technically as retirement spending for them. But I would argue that it was legacy planning, pure and simple. That early gift from my parents meant much more to me and my husband than did the inheritance we received from them at the end of their lives, even though the latter was a significantly larger sum. And while I'm sure that my parents weren't thinking transactionally about the down payment gift, They only wanted to help for us to be close by because we enjoyed spending time together. Having us close geographic proximity proved to be a godsend to them later. We helped them achieve their goal of aging in place. What's she saying? She's saying that, yeah, we could get a lot more money later, but we really, really, really needed the money then, right? And the fact that they gave us a little bit of money then was so much more meaningful to us than, getting the larger sum a few years ago when they passed away. And it's something for clients to think about. It's something that I tend, again, we're walking a thin line here, but it's something that I try to move clients into. For Christine Benz, it was revolutionary. As a financial advisor, working with people all the time, and like I say, over the last 6, 7, 8 months, this has been by far and away the most popular question that I get. And almost all my meetings revolve around this question of helping children and how to do it. And again, don't get me wrong, right? You have to take care of your own financial situation first. If you're retired, if you're pre-retirement, you have to make sure that you have a cushion, you have plenty of money, that you're going to live to 100, right? And then you might have bad health and all those bad things. You have to paint a very, very unrosy scenario when you're making your financial plan, just to make sure you're not going to leave yourself short. Because the last thing you want to do is move in with your kids, right? It might not be for you, but the last thing they want to do is have you move in with them. But once you get past that, I'm a believer that it really, because of the challenges that people face, if you can help them, I'm not saying give everybody $500,000, right? But if you can help them here, help them there, pay for, a lot of people pay for their grandchildren's braces, or they already start gifting, just to, help the kids, push them over the edge a little bit so that they, that things are maybe a little bit easier for them if they're having financial trouble. Again, I believe that for the children, they have to learn to make it make it on their own, make ends meet. I'm all for those things. I talk about that kind of thing all the time. If you're talking about legacy, if you're having that conversation already, and it should come up, and you have the assets. Again, if you don't have the assets, forget it. But if you have the assets and you're trying to think, what way should I do it? You should think long and hard about giving some money now, not all of the money now, because again, you want your kids to learn how to make it on their own, right? I'm all for that. I'm all for them being financially independent, learning, the hard way, but also keeping in mind that the little bit of help that you might give them now might be way more meaningful for them today than another 15, 20, 25 years when you finally pass on and they get a lot more money. Something to think about, food for thought. Let's just leave it like that, okay? I'd be happy to discuss, your specific issues with you. Feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, that's probably the best way, at aaron@lighthousecapital.co.il. Go ahead and do that if you have an issue. But, these are big issues. It's not for, a 7-minute or 8-minute video or podcast. But it's something to think about when if you're going down the road now of thinking about legacy planning, gifting, estate planning, all these different things. It pays to at least have the conversation. Speak to your advisor, think if it makes sense, if it doesn't make sense, but think about it, at least food for thought. Thanks so much for tuning in. You've been watching the Aaron Katsman Show. We speak to you about your life, your money, and your investments. If you've not yet done so, please subscribe to both the YouTube channel and to the podcast. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope this was food for thought for you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll speak to you soon.